KHKT News Today.
President Trump's recent handling of both foreign and domestic issues appear to be paying off, as a new Rassmussen poll shows higher approval ratings for the commander-in-chief. Not only has President Trump benefited from his recent speech at the United Nations, it appears his stand on the NFL national anthem protests have boosted his standing among the American people. The latest poll has his approval rating at 45%, his highest rating in months. While 54% still disapprove, it marks the continuance of an upward trend in job approval. The Drudge Report, via Rassmussen, has the details. The Rasmussen Reports daily presidential tracking poll for Friday shows that 45% of likely U.S. voters approve of President Trump's job performance. 54% disapprove. The latest figures include 29% who strongly approve of the way Trump is performing and 46% who strongly disapprove. This gives him a presidential approval index rating of -17. Most Americans continue to say their families regularly display the U.S. flag on holidays, and as in the previous survey, 85% of adults consider themselves to be patriotic Americans. Also, voters do not see chanting USA as an intolerant expression. Yet respect for the flag and the national anthem remains a contentious issue. Hundreds of NFL players have knelt, sat or avoided the national anthem since President Trump said last Friday that players who disrespect it should be fired. 34% of Americans say they are less likely to watch an NFL game because of the growing number of protests by players on the field. Protests erupted in St. Louis following the acquittal of a white former police officer who fatally shot a black man in 2011. But Americans believe those protests are primarily fueled by criminals taking advantage of the situation and are not an expression of legitimate outrage. 72% of likely U.S. voters believe most politicians raise racial issues to get elected. Voters still see a lot more corruption in the federal government than in its state and local counterparts, but there's doubt about government honesty at every level. As in prior years, voters remain strongly convinced that their fellow countrymen are not informed voters. Daily tracking results are collected via telephone surveys of 500 likely voters per night and reported on a 3-day rolling average basis. To reach those who have abandoned traditional landline telephones, Rasmussen Reports uses an online survey tool to interview randomly selected participants from a demographically diverse panel. The margin of sampling error for the full sample of 1,500 likely voters is +/2.5 percentage points with a 95% level of confidence. Rasmussen Reports is a media company specializing in the collection, publication and distribution of public opinion information. What do you think of the president's higher approval rating? Let us know in the comments, and in addition share this on social media.